And we're live. Hey everybody, and the Node.js Foundation Build Working meeting for the October 2016. With us today is Lawson, Rich, we have Miles Warrens, we have Gibson Fanenstock, if I forget your last name again.
Yeah.
We also have Michele from Italy listening in. And that's it. Did I miss someone? No, I think we're fine. Cool. So in our ordinary fashion, I guess we'll start with stand up. Joao, do you want to start?
Okay. So I created a job to test Node check record that reuses our build and test jobs in Jenkins. So I just changed the normal test Windows fan to compile for check record and test check record. I also dropped support for Visual Studio 2013 in V6 and onwards. So now it's live on the test CI, and the release Jenkins should also use it. Michael?
I spent some time fixing up an issue on the AX machines related to building from the private repo. It had to do with sort of software dependencies. Anyway, I had to install different portions, different tools from different places. So I updated the Ansible and manual guide for installing the AX machines. Finished off the migration to the new PPC production machine. So I'm hoping that that's done. And now I'm starting to get back to the job for code coverage. Johan, you're next.
Cool. I've spent some time fixing issues with the free BSD hosts. The reason they started to fail was twofold. First of all, we started running into issues when upgrading to V854. I think that's still to be determined how wide-reaching those issues are. But the other problem was that some of the variables that was passed on from the init scripts wasn't properly committed to the repo. So when I updated the slaves, or the workers as we call them, we ran into overriding the working init scripts with the old ones. So never edit live. On top of that, I've added FreeBSD 11, which was released a few days ago. It's still in a experimental stage, I guess, from a testing point of view. But when I test locally, and 1 or 2 runs I've done through the CI, it's been working as in a green run. So that's cool. I've done some reshuffling of FreeBSD hosts. We usually ran everything on DigitalOcean, but I felt like it would be important knowing that if we had issues that were so we now run a few between Rackspace, DigitalOcean, and Joyent. I've also migrated all, so the SSH keys we're using to connect to all the machines were replaced between this and last meeting. I also wrote an Ansible script to do this. So it's available in the refactor I'm working on. I'm also working with Rod to migrate our www host. We're kind of running out of space. It's actually a bit pressing, so we're hopefully done this week, and we can just point the DNS to make that final change. I've spent a lot of, actually more than I expected, but it's so close, so it's just a lot of fun seeing it come to fruition. When it comes to the new refactor, I have scripts to set up new hosts, which works. I've done it with 6 operating systems so far. We have scripts to set up the linters. We have scripts to start setting up a host. We have scripts to do the keys, to write SSH configs for quality of life. So it's really coming to a workable state. I will post it as a PR at when Ansible 2.2 is released, because I'm relying on a few functions from that version. So it's currently in RC. I think RC1 was just released. So once we hit 2.2, I will also make the PR. But I think you really should check it out today. And if you want to do changes to inventories, or if you want to do changes to Ansible playbooks, you should really look at the refactor, because it's almost feature complete for most kinds of OS or hardware combinations. So that's me. Next would be, yeah.
After all of that, I have to basically pass. Not much build stuff, the occasional. Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. The occasional, because all I see is Michael's avatar. Strange. Okay, anyway. Yeah, I've been working on the occasional test failure, but for the most part, nothing build specific. I think that leaves Miles.
Hello. I've not been really doing a lot with build-related stuff the last week or so. So that's all I have to report right now.
So I've been looking at a couple of AX issues. There was a problem with the Python on AX not finding the right SSL certificate, which was just a question of finding the right environment variable to set. That should hopefully be done, so I'll be working with Michael to get that put into the Jenkins configuration scripts. I think that's it.
Okay.
Cool.
That's everybody on the list, right?
That's it.
Oh wait, I do have one thing to say. Sorry. We did land a bunch of changes onto Canary in the Gold Mine yesterday that fixed Windows support, because apparently we had lost Windows support, but now we have it again. That's all.
Cool. So moving on to our agenda, the first issue on our agenda is issue number 484, which is a draft text for HSTS communication, and I believe Michael will handle this.
Yep. So you'd asked, and I wrote it up. So I guess I added this just in terms of like, are we closed on the discussion? And if so, where should we post it? Is it just like send it over to the evangelism team to post it somewhere? Or did we have somewhere else in mind?
Yeah, so I think what I'm at least waiting for is just more feedback from other people. I think it's just me so far that said yes. So preferably we would get someone else chipping in and saying this looks good to me. And after that, we need to coordinate with the evangelism team, yes. I guess we could, has anyone else in the build group had a look at it and, and have any opinions?
Yeah, and even it's fairly short, so people could read it in a few minutes if we want to try it that way.
I would like Rod's feedback as well, seeing how he's kind of been driving this before I picked it up, and then you helped up with the final stuff. So I guess, if you can take a minute of or 2 minutes of your time, just have a quick look at the issue, and if you have any comments on either how we communicate this or how we are to execute this, because it's expanding what this means. I guess, it's related to the rsync issue, which we'll be talking about a bit later, but at the end of the day, what we want to do is enable strict HSTS, which means that some older clients will run into problems talking over SSL, which also means that they will need to have an option. So have a look at that, and please give us some feedback so we can send this out. The initial idea was to do tests early November and launch it by December, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're already running short on time, so I think
Yeah, okay. I was wondering if it was just me or it's Johan.
Yeah, I hear you typing.
Okay.
Okay. So I just read the so I do have a question. Johan mentioned that older browsers would have trouble. I mean, they just disregard HSTS, right? Or does it actually cause problems?
Well, I think the thing is that once it's enabled, unless the browser says, yeah, okay, I understand your request and switches to HTTPS, you just can't connect. Right? Because basically you connect, if you don't connect with HTTPS, it basically sends you a message back saying, no, you have to use HTTPS. Unless you switch over to that, you can't access the pages at all.
Okay. Well, anyway, the text certainly looks good to me, and it looks like Johan just dropped off, so maybe he'll come back. Does anyone want to take this over and move to the next agenda item, or should we just wait patiently for him to reappear?
I think we were closed in terms of he wants Rod's. We'll wait for Rod's input, but if anybody else can get in and add their LGTMs or comments, that would be good.
So just a question, Michael. What kind of negative fallout could we see from this?
I think it's if people have the older browsers, they may connect and say, "Well, wait a sec, I don't know what's going on." I certainly had a problem, and I can't remember the exact circumstances, but it was turned on a site that I went to, and it took me a little while to figure out why I wasn't connecting properly.
And I guess if you had a curl script, you were just running to get the latest build every now and again, then that could fail, and you might not immediately know why, right?
Yeah,
So
I think that's along the lines of the trouble that I ran into. It was something like from one of those command line utilities.
So what about NVM?
It's probably fine because they probably use the HTTPS URLs to begin with, but we can check certainly.
Yeah, that would be, I would say, the number one thing to check if it could potentially break tools. I know that the NVM, I believe, is using our tab file and then grabbing stuff from there.
Yeah, so if you add those to the list of things that you can think of that we should check out to the item, that's a good idea.
So I'm looking right here. The Node.js org mirror that it's using is HTTPS, so that's good.
Okay.
But yeah, we may want to just like ping LJ Harb and just make sure that there's nothing we wouldn't see as an issue.
Probably ping the maintainer of N as well.
Who's the maintainer of N? Is that?
I don't know. It's the main repo is TJ.
Okay, and it's Court 3-man.
Hello, Internet, to whom we are streaming. We are stalling, waiting for Johan to return.
I think we can look at issue 470. Basically, the original issue was asking to get Gibson access just to the like the Power AIX and 390 machines. In the meantime, he was named as a collaborator, so I think under our existing policy, we can just give him access to the test keys and all of the machines as opposed to individually putting on the keys. So I just thought I'd throw that out, here to say if you agree with that, if you could add your LGTMs to that issue, and we'll just go that way as opposed to specific access. And I think.
So Han just messaged and said his internet just died. He's trying to get back through 3G and asked Michael if you could host.
Sure. Okay. So let's we'll continue with 470. So basically, if you have any objections, or even better, if you can add your LGTM so we can move forward on 470, I'd call to go take a look at that and do that so we can get Gibson access as a backup to me on those machines. Moving then on to plugin issues on Jenkins. So 453, let's open that up. Right, I think, Miles, were you the last one working on that?
Yeah, Johan and I were talking about it earlier today. So basically, we're still just like a matter of finding time to work on it. Gibson, have you been around for any of the discussions about this at all?
I think so, vaguely. Maybe not on the build meetings, but I've been following it in the repo.
Okay, because you had chimed in asking about this, so I may as well just give one more update on like exactly what's going on. So essentially, our tap reporter in that we have in the Python test script right now is not reporting tap to the